Hey everybody, today I just wanted to kind of do a little demo on how you can, from LabVIEW, connect to different AWS web service technologies. Um, let's dive in. So just to get started, you're going to need to install this toolkit. So it's the NI Cloud Toolkit for AWS. This is actually created by National Instruments. This is the one I'm going to demo here. Um, and yeah, let's pull it up in the palettes so you can see what options you get. So you can see out of the box, you basically get functions for connecting to one of four different technologies. So S3, I guess let's start here. S3 is basically a way that you can store files and retrieve files. So I can create a bucket, for example, and in that bucket, I can store different objects. So I can use like basically get and put functions to put stuff in there and get stuff out. And one of the cool things is I can either pull a file out entirely and basically it will download the file, or I can just pull the contents of the file and not actually have to pull the file down. So instead it will just return the contents of the file, which is kind of cool. And it's really pretty simple to set up, right? You just need like, let's not pull the create, let's drop the obtain. And then I basically just need to pass in my credentials, which is my access key and my secret key, which on the AWS console, you'll actually find those. And then you're also going to pass in a bucket name. And then from there, I can just, get and put, or I can get and put to file. So these will just return, as you can see in the context help, data, whereas these, you're actually getting a file back. So really pretty simple. From there you can also, list stuff, delete stuff. They've got different things for, notifications and buckets and logging and different policies for more advanced use cases, as well as you have some advanced object stuff. But yeah, for my use case, I pretty much survived just with these couple functions here, and it's worked great, like right out of the box. And I guess I should have said this to begin with, kind of as a disclaimer. If you've never used AWS before and you're interested in it, you can go and make what they call a free tier account, which basically gives you free access to AWS with some limitations for 1 year. So you can go, typically this stuff costs money, right? Everything you're storing costs money per month, and every read and write costs money. But you can go set up a free tier and you can just play with this stuff and see if it even makes sense for your business. Make sure if there's value added in doing this. S3 is going to be your way to just store files and retrieve files. So really simple API to use, and I've really had no issues with it. I guess the only issue I've ever had, and this isn't necessarily an issue with the toolkit per se, but I work in a regulated industry in aerospace, and as a result, we've had to use AWS GovCloud. Well, the problem with this toolkit is, and we can dive down in and I can show you. You have to go a couple layers in. Let's open up this guy. So, one layer deeper, sorry. We're building like a URL out of all of this stuff. And that URL is, sorry, let me go back a layer actually. So we're specifying here like our service and whatnot. And basically this is pointing the URL to the generic AWS S3 URL. Which works fine for like probably 99% of use cases. My specific use case, I was using GovCloud, which actually has a different URL. So this did not work on there. And there wasn't an easy way to modify it. So I have basically a branched version of this toolkit that I copied out of, after installing the toolkit, I basically branched it, set up my own, And then I went in and kind of overrode a whole bunch of this stuff, at least in terms of the URL, so it points at the GovCloud location, and it works great. So if you do work in GovCloud and you want the GovCloud compatible version, let me know, reach out to me. I have also reached out to NI to let them know that it'd be cool if this was easily switchable to that other URL without modifying those VIs. I don't know if they'll make that update or not, but yeah, if you want the GovCloud compatible version, just let me know. So yeah, let's look at some of the other stuff you can do with this. So we also have SNS. So what SNS is it's basically a way to send notifications. So they could be things like emails or texts or whatnot. So you can do stuff like basically register phone numbers and then send notifications to whoever's registered, right? So I can just pass in a message and then boom, AWS will send out a text to whatever phone numbers I've specified. So you can do stuff like that. It can do SMS, and you can also do email. So yeah, I can just basically create different topics, and then in those topics, I can basically set policies, that say, hey, this is what I want you to do, and this is who I want you to do it to. And you can actually do your setup for these as well in the AWS console if you want. And then from there, you can just go and fire off different notifications. So built-in kind of notification service, kind of cool. You also have SQS, which is similar in that it can send out, it's basically a queuing service, right? So I can basically build a queue, and then I can send stuff to the queue from an application, and other applications can also pull stuff out of the queue. So that way I can, it's similar almost to like RabbitMQ or something, where you have like a message broker. This is essentially your message broker, but it's also in queuing those commands and stuff. So yeah, if I have different things that are all sending requests to something, I can actually do it through SQS, where I can just obtain a queue, and I can send and receive messages on that queue through these functions. So kind of cool. And then another one, maybe one of the more advantageous ones for LabVIEW users, I think the two most advantageous would be S3 and IoT. But IoT is basically a way where you can log data in AWS. So I can initialize a session, and I can create a thing, right? My thing is, could be a device, etc. But then I can go and basically record data to that thing, which is kind of cool. And there's a whole bunch of other functions. Again, I haven't used a lot of the functions specifically, for policies and whatnot, but yeah, you definitely can. And you can also go in the AWS console and like configure your, all of your things and your topics and all that stuff. And then you can just write to them from here. So another cool way, you can just go and basically log data to the cloud and pull that data out of the cloud. So pretty simple. Like I said, I've had good success with all these that I've tried. If you're interested in playing with these, I highly recommend you sign up for the AWS free tier. There are limitations on it of like how much you can read and write and how much you can store and whatnot. But it's definitely a good way to get your feet wet and actually see if AWS makes sense for you and your company. So you'll want to install that NI AWS toolkit. And like I said, if you're using GovCloud like I had to, I have a special branch of this for GovCloud, so just reach out to me if you're interested in that. I'm happy to share it. But yeah, thanks for watching.
Canon Controls is your gateway to mastering LabVIEW. Dive into programming for data acquisition, industrial communications, and manufacturing automation. Explore how to enhance your projects with cybersecurity best practices. Join the journey to elevate your skills and secure your systems with every episode.